Hey, Greg, I wanted to call you. Hey, what's going on? I see Kramer in the background. You watching your favorite show again there? What's going on?
I fucking love Mad Money. I'm going to get a Kramer America cup. And I'm going to get one of those little gem bobblehead things and the whole fucking thing. I'm telling you, I'm all about Kramer. I'm doing my next video that is not an interview format, is on Kramer, I will admit. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to talk about the Charitable Remainder Trust. I'm going to put my Charitable Remainder Trust right next to Jim's, because I have a Charitable Remainder Trust. And I'm going to explain to people what that means.
All right, well, we look forward. So I called you to wish you a happy birthday. Not your birthday, but your friend Warren Buffett's birthday today, which you didn't know. It's August 30th, 2011, and let's wish Uncle Warren happy 81st today.
But I need him to live a couple more years, at least. I mean, I hope he lives to be 100. Because, I can't wait to see him eating dog food, living in a car somewhere. Just like Kramer used to live in a car. Everybody, I've gotten the most scathing things in Scope Labs about my Warren Buffett videos. And everybody just attacks me like I hate rich people or something. I mean, I love rich people. I think they're great. I love the way I live when I'm with them. I think that's from The Sound of Music, by the way. There's rich people that are good rich people, and there's rich people that are bad rich people. You have Michael Milken, who went to jail for insider trading, who's a good rich person. He's given away more money than Warren Buffett's ever thought of. You have Michael Steinhardt, who's a good rich person. There's all kinds of good rich people. Warren Buffett just isn't one of them. He's like a vulture. He's out preying on America. And then he also gives people such bad advice. He's just an absolute shill for this, proven to be wrong, buy and hold premise. I mean, he hasn't made money now, essentially, really, in a decade that hasn't been off of some sort of a scam, some sort of a usurious loan to Goldman Sachs or some sort of government back. I mean, none of us, hey, look, I'll bail out Bank of America. It's the same deal he bailed out Bank of America. If the government's going to back me up and I don't have to post any margin, sure. I mean, they're all such a sweetheart deal. They just have his stamp on them. I mean, the guy's never posted margin on $63 billion worth of derivatives.
When was the last time he bought something, really doing his homework without a sweetheart deal like that? I mean,
well, it's not a function. He lies there about his homework. I mean, when we go to Moody's and we look at the congressional hearing that he was subpoenaed for, they asked him to talk. No, I don't want to talk. Well, they got a subpoena, Warren Buffett. Everybody's here. All the Warren worshippers out there understand this guy got forced into call, and he said he couldn't pick the CEO out of a lineup. One of his, sage wisdoms is to understand the company, to understand the business model, to know everything about them. He'd never been there. He didn't know where they were located. He didn't know who ran the company, and he got barbecued for billions of dollars on the deal. The guy is absolute, just fraud. I mean, he bought Coca-Cola, right? Okay, we get it. His Wells Fargo deal is, and everybody goes, well, you're not as rich as Warren Buffett, so you're talking bad about Warren. You know what? I've lived my life. I mean, he did live like a pauper for a long time. He doesn't live like a pauper now. He lives in a mansion in Laguna Beach, and he has jets and private security, and, let's be realistic. But he lived actually really crappy as a billionaire. I mean, I was living in a $6 million house, driving around. I had 10 cars, tons of living hell. I lived like a rock star during the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and this guy lived like a peasant. So, I have absolutely no respect for that either. Go spend some money, employ some people, be good to your health. Again, I deplore him on everything he's ever done. He's tortured his grandchildren. I think his granddaughter sweeps floors or something. She's like an artist and a janitor. I mean, when you're married, when you get to be the lucky sperm club, when you're born into that family, you get the birthright. You don't get shut down. I mean, they all get like $100,000 for education and a kick in the ass. I mean, this guy is absolute debris. If you're not good to your kids, you're not good to anybody. I mean, your kids and your grandkids. I just hate him so much. I just hate him. I mean, I want him to live. I want him to live because he's still got a chance to go broke. I think,
Greg, you say this in all seriousness. So tell us
I'm serious. I hate him.
No, you say this. You say that he could go broke. How would that play out? How would that happen, do you think?
He has as much derivative exposure as he has net worth. And so, $63 billion of naked S&P puts that if the market, I don't really want the market to crash and ruin everybody. For the greater good, I hope he doesn't go broke. But, when he doesn't have to play by the rules and he's the 5th largest TARP recipient, he does these things with somebody.
So he's got, he's too big to fail. He's number 5 on the TARP list.
I mean, to all the Warren people that love this guy, please just come to me with refutable things. Don't, everybody attacks me personally. Like Jim Simons, George Soros is supposed to be this communist guy. He's a great trader. I mean, I'm not 80 years old either, and my whole life's mission wasn't to get every dollar I could. I'm not competing with Warren Buffett. So everybody attacks me on a personal level. What I'm saying is evaluate empirically the person that you're worshiping. This man is a bad person. He screwed his own family. He takes advantage of distress situations that are, for our country in terms of stepping up to the plate in these, deals, and he takes us to the cleaners and the taxpayers. Everything he does is some sort of a self-serving scam.
Why do you think? Why is it that you think the public continues to buy into it?
I think you probably just hit the nail on the head. I think he has so much positive press. I mean, we've created this media machine I mean, Michael Steinhardt, came out and blasted him on CNBC. Anybody that hasn't seen that should watch it.
Yeah.
And when he went and gave away all his money in one day thoughtlessly, as Steinhardt said, he gave away all his money in one day to charity thoughtlessly. And so, look, I have to, in all seriousness, I have to give away, 5% of the charitable remainder trust, which is something I'm going to talk about with Kramer, in the background was. I mean, I have to give away 5%. I'd give it thought. $1 million in a charitable remainder trust. I get to give away $50,000 a year to charity. I get to. And I do it thoughtfully. Make sure that, starving children get food. I don't put my name on it. I don't take any big credit for it. I don't want anybody sending me nothing. I just, if somebody's hungry, I miss a meal and I'm upset. So if somebody's actually really hungry and I can give them food, Russian, Burmese, orphanages, I make sure my charitable dollars get to a legitimate source.
But, right time, right place, little luck, yada, yada.
Well, I think what's his name? Malcolm Gladwell, who's brilliant author on statistical stuff, and Levitt and Dubner, or one of those guys that does all this, neuroeconomics, brought up the fact that if you just line up enough people through sheer randomness, somebody's going to end up picking right enough times. I mean, Warren Buffett is an absolute outlier. I mean, is it all pure luck? Does he have any skills? Did he have tenacity? Did he work hard? I don't want to take away anything that he's done righteously. The stuff that I have trouble with is this worship of somebody who's actually not a very good person.
Yeah, and what we're he's taking big stakes in big publicly traded companies that are completely there's no risk, as we've talked about. Everybody knows it. So yes, I'd take that trade too. Like you said, I'd put up no money and be guaranteed return. Great, I'm a big hero. But
I mean, the guy, if he's running $63 billion with no margin right now, just on the derivatives alone, the game is skewed in his favor. That's how long-term capital got in trouble.
Right.
They become so big that they're able to just sign a waiver and, here's a credit line and trust me, look at who I am. And he's just living off of a reputation that is, really, I mean, for a decade, he hasn't beat 30-year bonds for over a decade. 30-year bonds have stomped him into oblivion. Gold has beat him now for, maybe a decade. I get these detractors that want to defend him with such vehemence. I'm equally upset about, it really is troublesome to me that these people attack me for pointing out the truth. When I did Warren Buffett Facts, I didn't even get that much into, how he screws his, family. I didn't get that much into it. I just wanted to point out the facts is that, it's not really that impressive. He's done very few trades. There's very few data points. If you go to Jim Simons at Renaissance, who, up until Paulson's scam deal, who I think is a one-hit wonder. See, I don't like Paulson either. Hey,
we're talking John Paulson here.
No, I like Hank Paulson. He's a really nice man. Everything's fine about Hank. I'm afraid of Hank. But John Paulson was a bit of a one-hit wonder. And, he put together those default packages with Goldman. The stuff that he made his money on was almost self-manufactured. It's pretty shady looking. And now when he's left to his own devices, he blows up himself. He is in the middle of a blow-up. And that's my trouble with Buffett, too, is that the guy had no risk management. I have people that try to argue this point with me. If you lose half your money in 44 days as a trader, you're done. That's it. There's nothing else to say. It's irredeemable. You don't come back from that unless you have chart funds. If you have chart funds, I can go leverage up as well as anybody. I would be richer than Warren Buffett by far in 24 months if they let me have $63 billion that I don't have to post and let me go trade. I will beat his brains in. I'll be able to write a check for his entire net worth inside of 24 months if you give me the same, I'm not open leverage. Give me $63 billion to go monkey around with, and he won't be able to, he won't shine my shoes.
Quite frankly, that's Nick Leeson type numbers of, give me a 999 account, put all my losers in, and I'll be right with you.
I'll be as good as anyone else. It's like its own survivorship bias. So, like I said, I hope Warren is as healthy as a horse and he lives another 3 or 5 years because I think, his investment model went out the door in 1999, like I've always said with Glass-Steagall. If investing still worked, Warren Buffett's ideas would still work. He became a dinosaur in 1999 and he hasn't made money in any impressive way since. Everything he's done since Glass-Steagall ended, which just goes back again to, the Summers guy and things of that nature. We have a few villains in this world and the villains are, Nixon, for taking us off the gold standard, Greenspan for expanding the Fed's power, and Summers for taking away, and I guess Clinton, I don't know Bob Rubin is one of the great villains of all time. And you take these people and they ruined everybody's potential to invest. It would be a cool thing. Wall Street capitalism. If we could go buy companies and all this racetrack tout crap that goes on were real. If it wasn't all the smoke and mirrors and the books were right and you could go try to outthink the next guy and everybody could invest, that would be great. If we weren't so over-leveraged, interest rates would be at a reasonable number. So you'd have a choice of equities versus fixed income and how do you package your portfolio, and the 80 million baby boomers would be getting, 8 or 10%, and everybody would be retiring and living good, and, we would live in an entirely different world if you pull like 4 or 5 villains out of the equation. But
And I would say that, the poor retired population that's only going to get bigger would actually be able to, live for a while here too.
All this expansion that we've had in longevity is going to come to a halt as people can't eat. I mean, we're going to have global decline in standard of living because of a handful of greedy people.
I guess there has to be fighting in the streets before anybody pays attention.
Yeah, so let's leave it at that. Happy birthday to Mr.
Yeah,
Buffett.
happy birthday, Warren.
Many,
All my Warren detractors, go ahead, send me another note, but why don't you put something of substance in there?
happy birthday, Mr. Buffett, and another couple decades to you.
I hope he can live long enough so he goes broke.